I'm sorry, Dave.
That's working.
You might have changed my
Your palate?
disposition on the show. I might be transitioning from
whiskey
the
to-
whiskeys to...
It happened to me. I used to drink whiskey, but eventually I was like, a little hard on my system. So now I'm a little gentler here with the wine.
Thanks for the tip. Tonight, as your tribute, we're going to be screening the pilot for Twin Peaks, which, as I recall, is about an hour and a half. So it's like almost a feature film length, isn't it?
Pretty close. Pretty close. A 2-hour. It was meant to be a 2-hour movie of the week initially, and then they, when ABC bought it as a series, they sort of pulled out some of the pieces and then left the ending, open. So we're going to see the pilot that people saw on television, which is pretty exciting.
So Cooper here might want to try a slice of that pie.
A cherry pie?
Best in the Tri-Counties.
What, for you, specifically stands out as a favorite, something you're most proud of?
A few places I could go. I mean, I do love Twin Peaks. We're going to see that tonight. Twin Peaks, I love the character of Dale Cooper so much. Maybe the best film or television introduction I've ever had, certainly as a character. I mean, you just can't beat the drive up the mountain talking to the tape recorder. That was pretty special. My first movie was Dune, and I love the books, so I have a real soft place in my heart for that experience, certainly, in the role of Paul. That was pretty awesome.
Tell us about working with David Lynch. You got a good anecdote or story about him that you could share with our SIFF TV audience that they might not be able to hear anyplace else?
Well, David, I agree with you. He's an extraordinary filmmaker, and he's an even greater person, I think, just as a human being. And his direction is always certainly more unusual than anyone else I work with, more specific to David. He often directs using mood or sometimes a sound, or in some cases even a musician. Elvis is a particular favorite of his when he's directing me. He wants things a little more like Elvis. Often it'll be climactic, so wind is something that he'll say, we need a little more wind on that, a little softer wind on that. And so, and I love it because it puts you in a really different, since they're not words necessarily, they're more feelings, it's much easier as an actor to sort of to move into that direction. At least they are for me.
Just a little red, that's all. Oh, kid, let me feel. Oh, come here.
Hey, leave her alone!
He's also a director who doesn't hover by the monitor when the cameras are rolling, so he tends to work right around the camera, so he's either on one side of it or perhaps even underneath it. There are some great photographs from when we were making Dune of David sitting actually cross-legged right beneath the camera, watching the scene. So he's not separated by the monitor and looking at the framing and all that. I think he trusts his DP, his camera operator, to have the proper frame, and he's more interested in the performances. But also, with him being so close to the camera, he often can't help but interject certain things. So we'll be doing a scene, and he'll suddenly, while the cameras are rolling, he'll say, reach out and tweak Michael's nose. And so we're in the middle of the scene and doing this thing, and I'll just have to I'll just reach up and I just do the fast tweak like that, and he'll of course start laughing, and then we'll hold it as long as we can, and then of course we'll start laughing. So there's a lot of fun, and I think we actually used that take, I think, in one of the episodes. But he just can't help himself but sort of, get in there and mess around with us.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's fun.
By way of explaining what we're about to do, I am first going to tell you a little bit about the country called Tibet.
As folks will see,
Right.
I have a bottle of your delicious wine. And actually, I poured us some. Would you like some?
Oh, yeah, let's see how it's doing.
Excellent. Yeah, I've had
It's
it breathing.
always an excuse to drink a little bit of wine.
Yes. How did you get involved in this business?
Well, it was a sequence of events, as anything is. I've loved wine since I was way too young to drink it legally, which didn't stop me. And I have a lot of good friends that make wine up in Napa, and visited there frequently, learned their story, heard about their process, and I have a natural curiosity about how things work and how they're made, and I wanted to know more and learn more about that process with wine, but Napa was a little out of my reach financially. And then it kind of hit me, actually my wife hit me, and she said, why aren't you looking at Washington? Because that's where you're from, you grew up in Yakima. I had made friends with Eric Dunham a few years before, and she said, you talk to Eric, and so I did just that. I called him up and I said, what about partnering on a little project together? And he said, didn't hesitate, said, sure. And first question was, what do you like to drink? And I said, I like to drink Cabernet. He said, let's make Cabernet. And I said, I'm in. So.
I'm psyched to meet you. You're like the coolest mate we've ever had.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Your office is so cool.
It's awesome.
Look at the awards you have.
Yeah. Oh, this is the latest one we just got. Best official website for cities with populations under 700,000 in the Pacific Northwest area.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on that.
thanks. Well, I had this one made, and I presented it to myself.
Are you working on something presently or something that's coming up that you're going to be doing?
There's some fun things coming up, yeah. I'm going to go back to Portlandia, I think, for a couple of shows, which will be a lot of fun this summer. It's a beautiful time to be in Portland because the weather's gorgeous, and I love working with Fred and Carrie, and they always come up with eccentric ideas for the mayor. Places, unusual places for him to go, and which I embrace. We were excited about, because I'm always sending ideas to him, and we were discovering about toilet composting and things like that that's happening in Portland, and so we were like, oh, this is, we got to,
Pacific Northwest thing.
We've got to find a place for this. This
Yes,
is
indeed. David Lynch would probably really find something interesting.
Yeah. We're trying
toilet
to
composting.
seeing if we can get him on Portlandia. That would be a really fun thing to do. We've had a couple of really great directors on. Maybe David will come and do something fun.
Yeah, do you happen to know if David has seen Portlandia or any of the more comedic stuff that you've done?
I don't think he has. I'm not sure. I mean, we found our comedy in Cooper pretty quickly, and working together, David and I, there's a lot of fun there. There's a lot of humor there, but I don't know if he's seen Portlandia or How I Met Your Mother, but we'll see.
I like to imagine him watching the show with some quinoa. American
nice
spirits.
big bowl, nice
It's
big bowl
a
of
big
quinoa.
bowl of quinoa. It's a comfort food for bottle of your wine.
A bottle of my wine. Yeah, well, that's his, we share that. David first sort of brought me into the whole French wine thing. He gave me a bottle of Lynch-Bage way back when I auditioned for Dune. It's kind of a gesture, thank you, and like I'd like you to, he was kind of just saying to me, I think, that he'd like me to, if they chose me for the role of Paul, and so we trade wine frequently now, Lynch-Bage in particular. And I've got a few bottles left in my cellar. Yeah.
Be curious.